people, we are back again for another video. Today we're going to be ranking the Crystal Palace players this season throughout this 2021 campaign. Let's just be real, it's been pretty poor for us, you know what I mean? We haven't really been on a game, we've been really inconsistent. We had a good start beating Southampton and getting a brilliant result at Old Trafford, obviously winning 3-1, and then we've just been up and down. I mean, we can't seem to win any games, we can't seem to keep many clean sheets, we keep shipping a load of goals, there's no fight in the team. A lot of players I want out of the club by the end of the season. We need some young blood in this team as well. The January window. The only positive I could think of is a signing Jean Philippe, the French striker, 6'4", on an 18-month loan with an option to buy if he plays a particular amount of games for the club. So that is the only positive I can take from this so far. It's really frustrating. I'm this close to losing my core. I may seem calm now, but when we're doing the streams, when the games kick off and we're not performing, you can just tell it's just going to be a long stream with me in a bad mood, man, because it's just sickening, man. The same thing every season. There's no passion, there's no fight throughout the team. All I want is just to see a few wins, see a few goals as well, because we've been lacking all of that recently in the last couple months so far this season. So we just really got to pick our game up. So, as you can see right here, we have got 5 categories of where I'm going to be ranking my players this season. Starting from the bottom, time to go. Yes, this year I did get it right. Shit, average, good, and class, which is going to be pretty rare to get a player up there, to be honest. Going to start off with Nathaniel Klein. Now this season he's been alright, you know. I mean, when he first came to the club, not gonna lie, it took him a bit of time to gel with the vibes of the Prem, you know, to obviously playing football again. He hasn't played football before when he signed for us for a few months and that, but he's done really well. Put him as good overall. Gary Cahill, now obviously again he's had a lot of injuries and that, and his fitness has been the prime example to why he's struggling to play quite a few games on top of each other throughout this season. He's a good player as well. It's because he is a very solid player. He's a good leader on the pitch. He's played in some games that we got thrashed this season, I know, but in other games, if it wasn't for him, we probably would have lost by an amount of goals. He's a good leader at the back, an experienced player. Martin Kelly, he's barely played this season. He hasn't. I think he made one appearance, and that was in the League Cup against Bournemouth, where we got knocked out on penalties to Bournemouth. Dan Woods, another player, it's time to go. I'm surprised he's still at the club. You know what I mean? I thought he was going to go last season, but he only played one game, and that was in Bournemouth as well. Harry Mitchell, I am going to put him in as a good player. Better defensively than Fanano. He offers a bit of pace in that inner team. A lot of experience on this belt in the last year for playing for Crystal Palace. Better than Fanano, like I said. And let's just be real right now. He is a very good prospect. He could be the next Wan-Bissaka. Who knows? Milivojevic. I know what you're lot of thinking right now, why I haven't put him in the time to go category. The reason is because he's the captain, and I'm not going to lie, recently he's been playing okay. He did well against Arsenal, against City, did alright, but still was poor overall. But this season, over the last year, he can't even pass the ball. His confidence has been off. He's had 2 red cards in the last year as well. It says it all really, man, you get me? His confidence has just gone downhill as a player. He's mentally not at the game. He spends more time flapping his arms around like a headless chicken and just goofing around and just trying to, it just gets involved with unnecessary things. He got into a punch up with Batshuayi a week ago, for God's sake, and he was breaking COVID rules on New Year's Eve, and you're the club captain, man. Come on, man, fix yourself up, you get me? Dzeko Kouyaté, I'm gonna put him as, I'm gonna put him average. He's not really being, right, this season overall, he's a defensive midfielder. He is a defensive mid. He is not a centre back, you get me? But he's been playing alright. But some games he does well, other games he makes mistakes, looks like Bambi on ice. His inconsistency overall, you get me? You know what I mean? Inconsistency, man. Andros Townsend, average as well. The only thing he did was score that goal against Manchester United. He got a couple of assists at the beginning of the season as well, and then he just sort of faded away and just disappeared, man. He hasn't been the same player since, not been performing. He's been doing okay defensively when he's playing as an attacking winger and that, but overall he's not done enough, you know what I mean? He's had a few chances he's not put away. Overall, he needs to be doing a lot better. He's lost a lot of pace, I'll tell you that. Jeffrey Schlupp, I'm going to put him as good. He's been probably one of our best players this season. It's a shame he's out injured for the next 3 months and that, because he was doing so well, scoring a few goals, getting a few assists. You know, he's probably one of our quicker players in the team, to be honest, not going to lie. James McArthur, this season I'm going to put him as average. He's getting on a bit, he's playing far too many games and it's shown. The amount of times he's given the ball away, he's not really been concentrating. When he's running with the ball, he has his head down a lot. He's not really as wary of where the players are around him in the team. I think this could be his last season for Crystal Palace because he is getting on, it is showing, and we need to replace him. We need to get some young blood into the team. You know what I mean? Maybe give him a rest for a couple of games, or you could do what we do with Kale. Play in one game, rest him, play in one game and all of that, rest him and that, etc. Nathan Ferguson, I don't know what to really say right now. He's just signed for us, obviously. He hasn't even played a game for us this season. So I'm going to put him as average in that. We haven't even seen what he's like yet, but he's a young prospect. So I'm just going to put him as average overall. I'm not going to say he's class or he's crap or anything because he hasn't played yet. He's just had a few bad injuries. So there's not much I can really say. He had a long-term one recently, which started last month. He's probably going to be back by March. Hopefully we can see him play towards the end of the season. James McCarthy. Yeah, not really lived to the expectations. He had a good start to the season. It appeared. I think he got an injury, or I think he got suspended, or something like that in the team. And he's just not been the same player since. Can't even get in the team when he does play. He's a little bit too over aggressive in my opinion. Not Premiership standards, and I think he needs to go getting on a bit. You know what I mean? Ibere blood clot Eze. Gonna put him in a good category. Let's be real. I would put him in class, but you know, he's done well. I mean, he dominated against Arsenal. His hold-up play on the ball is brilliant. Some of the goals he scored this season, the one against Leeds and that solo goal against Sheffield United. Come on, man. I had Ibere blood clot Eze and he's screaming it out my mouth. You get me? That's exactly why he's key for us in the team. Offensively, he needs to improve a lot. And needs to be a bit more confident sometimes, just running forward with the ball rather than just sitting a bit too deep and just passing it and not running past players like what he did against Sheffield United. We know how he can play, and if he would have, it's a shame sometimes because if he could just score a few more goals and maybe be a little bit more confident, I'd put him in as, you know, in class and that overall. Yeah, read about, put him in average. You know, when he does play, I mean, he scored that goal against Fulham. He can create a few good passes and that. He can be pretty solid, very quick and that on his feet. But you know, he's not a bad player, but he is a little average overall. You know, if he was any good, he'd be getting in the team weekly and that. And it's a shame, but he's a young player. Hopefully, if he does get a few games under his belt between now and the end of the season, overall, you know, it could be a massive benefit for Palace, for the team. I wouldn't say we should sell him, but we know the guy can play. Our top scorer last season with 9 goals, and this season he's just only scored 1 goal, and that was against Leeds, against a very poor defensive Leeds side, I should say. Just not really lived up to the expectations. Just it feels like he's just had a contract for the money and that, like a new contract extension, and he's just sitting on his arse, not really doing much. He can't even get in a team and that. He comes on as a sub and he spends more time goofing around in the corner or just being so deep, playing like a defensive midfielder rather than running at defenders and scoring the goals. Because he did that a lot last season. This season, he looks like a League One player, to be honest. So overall, Jordan Ayew just not been good enough, and he's been pretty diabolical in my opinion. So I mean, there's no question. If it wasn't for him, we would have been relegated last season, the year before, 5 years ago. He's class. He's our top scorer of 8 goals. I know fans get. He does get on my nerves sometimes. If you're watching my streams, he does lose the ball far too much. But let's be real, he's the only good player we got on the team. Every game we've played without him, we've lost. Let's be honest, it was Sahara FC, I'll say that right now, with my chest in that. Christian Benteke, he's a bit different. I'm going to put him as average, man. I'm going to put him as average, only because he scored a few goals under his belt, decent goals with his head, and scored a brilliant goal against West Brom when we won 5-1 back in December, early December, the Hawthorns. Biggest win this season, and if he can score a few more goals this season and get a better service from certain players, even new ones that we may sign this January, fingers crossed and that, then, you know, he might go into the good category. Connor Wickham, nothing to really say. He's been injured. Even when he did play last season, only scored 1 goal. Was pretty useless. That man, what's there to say? No goals. 4 goals this season actually, but all been offside. The guy's more offside than he touches the ball. Doesn't work hard enough. Is lazy and just completely and utterly useless. Brandon Pierre came from the youth. He played a few games last season, but I'm gonna put him in the shit category. I'm sorry, but he's just not. If he was any good, he'd be in the team. He's obviously not performing. I'm just being fair, man. He hasn't really played many games, and when he did play against Derby, he wasn't really that good. But he's got a bit to prove, so I want him to prove me wrong as a Palace fan and as a player as well, from his point of view. Wayne Hennessy only played 1 game, and he had the biggest moment for us this season. Other player, Henderson. Hasn't even played a game, probably played for the under-23s, I haven't even noticed. He hasn't even played a single game for Palace yet, I don't think. Guy, gonna mark him as average. Now, he's been a bit disappointing this season. Well, I would say disappointing, but he's made some good saves, but he's still shipped a load of goals. Shipped 7 against Liverpool, 3 against Villa, 4 against Chelsea, 4 against City. I can go on and on. We conceded about 33 goals this season. It's really not good enough. He has conceded 33 goals, honestly. And he's made a few mistakes. He should save a few goals. Sometimes he has a good game, and sometimes he lets a few cheap goals in. He's not bad, but right this season he's been pretty average. He's nowhere near the player he was last season. We know how he can perform, man. And we know how the team can perform overall with confidence from your goalkeeper and that. And he's just not giving it to them and that. You get me? So if he's not careful, he's going to get dropped by Jack Butland, that I'm going to get onto in a sec. Boards. I wouldn't say it's time for him to go. He's been a very loyal player. Gets outpaced quite a lot. He's lost a lot of pace. His concentration sometimes could be off. He's got a mistake in him. Made that mistake against Brighton towards the beginning of this season at home when we drew 1-1 and they scored at the last minute. That's because of him and he was a fool for the goal. So overall, I'm going to mark him as shit. Fernando can't defend. He can't attack. He can't cross. He might as well go and play for the under-9s at Crystal Palace. So yeah, we all know where he's going to be going. Definitely time for him to get out of the club. James Tompkins, he's been injured this season quite a bit, so I'm gonna put him as average. He's only started recently coming back, and when you're not gonna lie, a couple games like against Sheffield United and Arsenal on the bounce, back-to-back clean sheets with him in the team, and then he played against City, I believe, and we got battered 4-0. So yeah, but he's not been bad since he's come back, so I'll put him as average. He's always been a consistent player, but it's just a shame he's got a load of bloody injuries. Scott Dan. Fortunately, mate, it's time for you to go. You've been a good servant, brother, but yeah, age catches up on you and it shows. He had a few good games. He scored a goal against Leeds, but he had a few games against Burnley and Newcastle where he was pretty disastrous in that, and he couldn't really defend. Was off his pace. The fact he's still at the club, he's been at the club for 7 years now. We need some young blood. We need a replacement. We need to just start fresh again. Mamadou Sakho. Well, the thing is with Sakho, he's always injured, and when he does play, he'll make 2 to 3 errors per game, and that. Can't even kick a ball. He's awkward on the ball. He's got a knee injury and he's playing at the same time. Come on, man. It's just pathetic. Whether he's just got too big for his boots and just sitting on his ass, letting the money come through for him and that. Just says it all, man. You know what I mean? It's just the way, he's probably programmed in his head, so time to go. Jack Butland. I'm going to put him in a good category. The reason is I know he's played 1 game against Wolves, but he was very confident, he was very solid. The goal he conceded was a banger against Traore. And let's just be real right now. Jack Butland, obviously he got relegated with Stoke, but I think if Guy doesn't start putting his weight on the pitch, I think Jack Butland's going to get a spot in the team and going to be our #1 goalie for the next few months in that, because he had pretty solid and confident against Wolves, and he made a few good saves as well. If Guy was in goal, we would have probably lost that game by a few more goals rather than 1-0 against Wolves. Anyway, my people, we are ending the video right now. So let me know in the comment section, what are your thoughts on my rankings? Let me know your rankings down in the comment section down below. Make sure you like, share, obviously subscribe. We're probably about 98 subs away, maybe even more or less, from 1k subscribers. Can we hit the big 1k throughout the next couple months or even in the next few weeks? Who knows how it's gonna go, but yeah, stay tuned. My Instagram, my Twitter, and Snapchat links all in the description below as per usual. Check out my recent videos. We've got a West Ham preview coming up next, then obviously next Tuesday we have got West Ham at home in the evening, so obviously I will be doing a live watch along with my dad for that, and a preview. My dad will probably be in it as well, so stay tuned. And yeah, do not go changing. Come on, you Palace. Could we just make up for the start we've had this season overall? Could we be a bit more consistent? Could we start winning games, sign a few more players in Jan? And yeah, fingers crossed we can progress up the table. I hope so. See you lot there. Don't go changing. Come on, you Palace. In a bit.